Live serves as your pre-tournament meeting for the Alabama Bass Trail North Division Lewis Smith Lake pre-tournament meeting. I would like to start by saying a huge thank you to Linda Lewis and the Chamber of Commerce of Walker County for being our host this week. Linda and a whole group of her volunteers will be at the ramp on Saturday morning as well as Saturday afternoon, helping you guys in and out of the water. If you have never fished an Alabama Bass Trail event or any big bass tournament out of the Jasper side of Smith Lake at the dam, you are in for a treat. The volunteers do a phenomenal job helping us get you through boat check, getting you in the water, and returning you to your boat. They'll have golf carts roaming around to make your travel from your parking spot to your boat way more enjoyable and getting you there pretty quickly. Also, they do have a volunteer that will be there cooking in the mornings. He does, I think, tenderloin biscuits and some coffee. So he'll be there. He'll take donations. So just remember that. His name is Bo, and then he will be cooking in the afternoon. That is something that is in coordination with the Chamber of Commerce there in Walker County. So every year he has been there. So just want to make sure that you are aware of that. Also, before we get started, I want to issue a huge congratulations to Blake Heiss and Jonathan Collins for their win on Neely Henry on February the 19th. A really tough tournament, but those guys did a phenomenal job and cashed the $10,000 check. But probably more important, they punched their ticket to the championship later on this year at Lake Jordan. So congratulations to those guys. Also, we want to go ahead and get started by saying we hope that you received your pre-tournament email this morning. It should have hit your inbox at 10 a.m. this morning. So please make sure that you check your email, that you've read it. Please open it and read it top to bottom. A lot of information is included in there that you will need to be successful in this event. Also, if you are a Gmail email address, please check your promotions folder. I do want to remind you that is a Gmail situation. We're not asking that it be sent to your promotions folder. It is just a way that Gmail has decided to source promotional emails. If you subscribe to, say, Bassmaster or anything like that, all of those emails are sourced into that promotions folder. And so that's a Gmail thing. You can go into your preferences and try to have ours sourced back out to your inbox. But unfortunately, there's nothing we can do in our settings that's going to help that. So just want to remind you that if you are a Gmail participant, if that's how you receive your email, you will need to check your promotions folder. Possibly your spam, but most everyone that I've talked to has gone into their promotions folder. Also, just a reminder, you will receive your text message on Thursday evening and at 7 p.m. It will include your boat number, your flight number, and the time that you're due in. So please make sure that you're receiving your text messages. If not, please contact Scott or myself. We will check the phone number that we have for you, but that will go out on Thursday evening at 7 p.m. Also, as always, unless things are just a specific case, we will always have a water check-in. I did have someone ask that question today. We always have an option for water check-in unless it is dangerous to do so. But we will have a water check-in. Scott will go over that on the presentation here in just a little bit. So we will have that option. I do want to remind you that there is a 250 or so boat tournament that will be going on the Coleman side of Smith Lake. It is a high school tournament. They are allowed to practice on Saturday until 12 o'clock. So if you are taking off from an alternate location, please have your head on a swivel and make sure that you are looking and being safe at all times. So I did want to go over that and remind you that we do have that high school tournament going on. I have been told by the tournament director that they would be pulling the high school anglers off the water by 12 on Saturday. So just a reminder that you will be sharing water with a high school tournament, somewhere between 200, 250 boats. Also, we will answer questions if they're posted in the comment section. We will not stay on here all night answering questions, so please post those in the comment section. Inbox us at Facebook or send Scott or myself a email, and we'll be happy to get back to you. I want to also remember, I wrote it down here to remind y'all, we want to answer your questions. We realize a lot of you are new to the Alabama Bass Trail. However, we are asking you to please be mindful of our time with our families. 8:30 on a Friday night is not the time to send a question asking the size limit for Smith Lake. Odds are you're probably not going to get an answer. That can all be found on the website at alabamabastrail.org. Click tournaments, click Smith Lake, and read through the website. It is clearly stated there. So 9 times out of 10, 99.9% of your questions can be answered by simply visiting the website. So we encourage you to do that. And it should be answered on the Monday when you receive your email. So just want to remind you that if you do send a text or an email after regular business hours, odds are you'll get an answer the next day or the next business day. I do want to remind you that in case you leave a tournament early and you're not able, if you've launched from a different site and you want to leave early, that's fine. Just please give Scott or I a call, letting us know that you are off the water and that you are safe. That just kind of helps us at the end of the day when we're recounting key fobs to make sure that everyone is off the water safely. Again, as you know, there is a high school tournament going on across the water, so we ask that you be courteous and safe. And they are supposed to be off the water by noon, so hopefully you'll be able to use the entire lake after that. But I did want to remind you that they are having a tournament on the other side of the lake. A couple of emails that I received today. We are aware that there is an amount of rain that we're supposed to get this week, somewhere between 2 and 3 inches of rain. We are watching that. We also have seen that there are winds predicted from 10 to 20 miles an hour on this lake on Saturday. Speaking with locals, wind on Smith Lake is not like wind on the Tennessee River. The lake is not near as wide, and there is a lot of canals and creeks that kind of breaks the wind up. So it's not like a west wind coming down the Tennessee River when you have current that's flowing the opposite direction. So we're going to watch that. We are in conversation with Alabama Power on a regular basis. I did notice today that the water went up to 510.96, and then within 2 hours it was back down to 509.66. So we are watching that. In 2019, when it got out in the parking lot, it came up to 518. So we feel very comfortable with anything between 510 and 514. We should be able to proceed with the tournament. If it becomes a situation where we feel in safety that we need to cancel or postpone this event, I do want to remind you that Sundays are reserved for inclement weather. We will postpone it to Sunday if we feel that Sunday gives us, better weather. But sometimes that does mean that the water will continue to rise. So it may not be that we can do it on that Sunday. It may not be that we can do it that month, but we are planning and going in accordance that we will have this tournament on schedule on Saturday, March the 12th. If we decide to cancel or postpone, we will notify you no later than 5 p.m. on Wednesday, the 9th. So just kind of know that. We will notify you via email and via text message if we decide that we need to cancel or postpone the tournament. So I just wanted to go over those few things with you. I will ask that if we do send you a text or email, know that we are dealing with 450 of you. So we are may not be able to answer your call, but once we make that decision, that's how we'll proceed. But as of right now, and our full intention is to have this tournament as scheduled on Saturday, March the 12th at Lewis Smith Lake. So just want to kind of address any fears or concerns that we've had sent to us today. So we're going to bring Scott in. He is going to talk to you a little bit about the presentation. I do know his first slide is going to talk to you about Chris Brown, who takes care of our cameras as well as our tracking devices. I do want to thank the people who had those at Neely Henry and turning those in to us. We were able to get all of our devices back as well as our cameras. We are filming a TV show, and we are filming 4 hours of live coverage. So we do need to be able to find Alabama Bass Trail anglers on the water, especially since there's going to be an additional 250 or so boats on the water on Saturday. So please be mindful of our camera crews as they're out on the water. They're not there to hinder you. They're not there to give your spot away, but they are there to make great live coverage as well as to make a TV show. Chris Brown has his number there. Please remember on Thursday night when you get your boat number, if you would like a camera, I do have 10 or 12 that we have already voluntold that they would have cameras. But if you would like a camera, please make sure that you text Chris your boat number and whether or not you're coming by water so that he can have your camera where you need to be. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Scott. I will stay in the presentation in case I need to comment. But Scott, if you would, let's get started at Lewis Smith Lake.
All right, Ms. Kay, thank you. Chris, I'm ready. Let's get the presentation started. Welcome to Smith Lake. Guys, we're going to start boat check at 3 a.m. We will have, of course, our team will be there as well as the volunteers from Jasper. I know that it's looking to be cold. Nobody wants to sit on the water for 3 hours, but you need to prepare yourself both mentally and physically for what's going to happen if everybody waits to the last minute to put in. Okay. It happens when it's cold. Not much we can do about it. Nobody wants to sit there and everybody shows up at 5:30 trying to get in the water. We're not going to wait on you. We're going to launch at first light, at first safe light. We assume that will be somewhere between 6 and 6:15. If it's going to be windy, like they're saying, we're probably not going to have fog, so I don't expect a delay. So try and be there a little bit early so you can avoid the rush last minute and make sure that we get as many folks in the water so that we can have a proper blast off. Check-in, we do have a water check-in. It'll be on the long dock. There's always a red flashing light. Kevin is our guy who runs water check-in. He's there. He'll do just like we do for regular boat check. He's going to look at your text. He's going to check your live wells, and he's going to give you your key fob as well as tie some ribbon onto your trolling motor so that we can see who we are. Safety first. Anytime your big motor is running and engaged, you must be wearing your Coast Guard rated PFD. Please follow all posted water control signs and buoys. Big bridge area is no wake. Again, we're going to try and blast off at approximately 6 a.m. or shortly thereafter whenever I feel like it is safe light. Our first flight is due in at 2:30. Next slide. Size limits. For those who fish Smith, they're very familiar with this, but we do have some folks who are coming from out of state or this may be their first trip to Smith. It is a slot lake. It has a 13 to 15 inch creel slot for all black bass. That means you can weigh in any fish or any bass up to 13 inches. If it is between 13 and 15 inches, it is a slot. You cannot keep it in your boat. It must be released immediately. If it is 15 or over, that is an over, and you are certainly allowed to keep as many of those up to 5 for your limit. Again, nothing between 13 and 15 inches is allowed on Smith Lake. Fish length measurements are your responsibility. All right, let's look at our logistics. We talked about water check-in. I want to touch that first. You'll see that on the long L dock there. That's where Kevin will be. Look for the red flashing light. We have a ton of volunteers from Jasper that will be helping us get folks put into the water. If you're fishing solo or you have a partner who is not comfortable backing you in, there will be volunteers there who help that. If it's not Miss Lewis and her team, my guys will be on the ramp as well. It looks like we've got 4 different ramps that will be rolling. We get in and out as quickly as possible. When you come to boat check, please make sure you've got your text ready for our guys. Once you roll through boat check, they're going to put you into 2 lines. When you get in, and the volunteers will be there saying, you're in this line, you're in this line. You get up front, close to the ramp, they're going to say, you're going here to 2, you're going to 4. They'll be telling you exactly where to go. They're going to pinpoint you even to which parking spot you're going to be in. They're a finely tuned machine when it comes to this. They do it every week and they know what they're doing. So please listen to the volunteers to expedite not only launch that morning, but take out in the afternoons. Again, 2 lines or 2 lanes after boat check. Once you have received your fob, they'll tell you which line you're going to and move you down to get you launched. We will be using Boat US for both our blast off and check-in, just like we did for the championship. If you were there, you'll see us out there with flashing lights in the Boat US. We will stage back in the bay just a little bit between. You stay between the Boat US blast off boat back towards the dam, and we will kind of idle out a little bit towards the mouth of the creek there, and we'll let you guys come by when your numbers are called. Next slide. Off limits area is clearly marked. You see that it goes from the old ramp that is no longer usable there in a straight line across the point back towards the dam. Please do not fish in the off limits area. One thing I failed to mention on the last slide is this is a trailered event. There's not enough dock space for everybody. So in the afternoons, when you come in and check in with our check-in boat, put your boat on the trailer, pull out, and then you will bag your fish to be weighed. We'll be right there. The bags will be right by the back of the trailer there in the midway of the parking lot. Easy access for everyone. Next slide. My phone number is 256-309-9852. If there's an emergency situation on the water, obviously call 911, and then only when safe to do so, you need to notify myself or Kay. If it is after 2:30 when I'm on stage, you will have to call Kay. I turn my phone off so as not to disturb the weigh-in. Next slide. If you are going to come by water or use an alternate, you need to make sure that you text 256-309-9852 and notify me so that I can, if you're coming by water, I need to pull your fob so that your fob is on the water check-in and not at boat check. Please do not reply to the text message that you get on Thursday night. The first thing that text message says is, attention ABT anglers, do not reply. But every week we have folks who come and say, oh, well, I replied to the text message saying I'm coming by water. That is a third party that sends that information out. I do not get those texts. You have to text my number, 256-309-9852, if you're going to come by water or use an alternate. And examples of those texts are Boat 226 using an alternate for Dobbins for Donaldson, or whatever the case may be, or just Boat 226 coming by water. If you're going to come by water, I don't need to know the angler's names. Just a boat number will suffice so that I can get your text or your fob in the correct spot. Okay, Chris? Again, once you receive that text on Thursday, I need to have a text message to 309-9852. I have to have that by 5 o'clock on Friday. That is the deadline. I don't need a text at 11 o'clock on Friday night saying, oh, I've decided I'm going to come by water. That's too late. At 5 o'clock on Friday, what I have on record is what you're going to do. Okay. That gives you, 23 hours to make a decision how you're going to get that taken care of. Myself and my team pull the fobs at 5 o'clock, and we do this simply for a couple of reasons. Number one being the most important. We have to get our information to our TV folks, Chris and his crew, so that they can make appointments and get everything set up so that they can get cameras on boats. If they send a camera for boat 226 who told me they were coming by water and they show up at boat check, that's a problem, or vice versa. We need to make sure that we have that information in by Friday at 5 o'clock so that we can get people and equipment in the proper spacing. Thank you. Any questions, concerns, or comments, please feel free. Obviously, you can send that over on a Facebook message right quick. If we get it before we go off air, we'll try to answer it then. If not, it needs to be an email to myself or Kay. My email is scott@alabamabasstrail.org, Kay@alabamabasstrail.org. And again, our phone numbers are listed there as well. One thing I do need to touch base on, we've gone over all of our rules that we talked about, before our first meeting or before our first tournament in our modified meetings for this event. But as always, I'm going to read you the protest rule verbatim from the rule sheet that you signed. Protests must be made in writing within 15 minutes of the official closing of scales at each tournament. Any written protest must be provided to the tournament director in writing within said time period. If a protest is not made in writing within the required 15-minute time period, the contestant waives his or her right to submit a written protest. Everybody understand, 15-minute window on the protest, and it has to be in writing. I have forms, Kay has forms. See one of us immediately so that you can, if you feel the need to file a protest, that you do so in that certain 15-minute window, or you waive your right to do so. And Ms. Kay, if I don't see any questions popping up on my side, you may have some on yours that you can see that I can't. But I think that's all I've got as far as presentation goes, unless I left something out you need me to cover.
No, I did have a couple things that I wrote down as you were going through. I do want to remind everybody as you are going past the blast off boat in the mornings, it is very important that you acknowledge your boat number. Let Scott and the team on the boat know that you are boat number 15. At least raise your hand, yell out boat number 15 as you go by. Also, please do not get on plane until after you pass the blast off boat. It is important. We have cameras and video equipment and large cameras with long lenses trying to get great photos that go into our photo gallery, as well as music equipment, speakers, and all kinds of things out on that boat. So please do not get on plane before you pass the blast off boat.
Absolutely, Ms. Kate. It should be a little smoother at this event. Neely Henry was a little bit of a circus with the current. We had floaters. There was just a lot going on. Guys didn't do a great job getting on the sides that we needed them to be on, and blast off was a little cumbersome. This event should work a little bit better. No one should be past the blast off boat. You will be between the blast off boat and the dam. And as we start calling numbers, obviously, if you're boat 200, you don't need to be up within 30 yards of us. Stay in the back until we get closer to your number, and we'll idle by. Obviously, if you're going to go to the right, come on this side of the boat. You're going to left, come on this side of the boat. And we don't have folks crossing in each other's lanes. And like Ms. Kay said, please idle until you're clear of the blast off boat, and you'll hear Robbie. He'll be yelling it, and I'll be trying to wave at everybody and make sure that we get a notification. But please don't just raise your hand when your number's called. Give us a shout. That helps us check everybody in on the way or on the way by the blast off boat. Thank you.
Chris, if you would go back to the screen that shows where the water check is going to be, I want to explain one thing about when people check in the afternoon. So if you could, there is a point or kind of a round area that is between the long L dock and the ramp number 3. Linda Lewis will be there in the afternoon. She will tell you boat number 25, go to ramp number 2. Boat number 25, go to ramp number 2. That is where your truck will be. So if boat number 25 goes to ramp 4, you are not going to be able to get your truck loaded or your trailer loaded in a timely manner. So she will be on a bullhorn and she will go through boat number 1. You go to ramp number 1, boat number 2, ramp number 4, and she will do that all afternoon through 225 boats. Listen for her on the bullhorn to let you know which boat ramp that you need to go to trailer your boat on your truck. So please make sure that you're listening for that. We will take care of blast off. She will get you out of the water in the afternoon. So please make sure that you're listening to her in the afternoon. Those are the 2 things that I had on my list. I do want to remind everybody you are required to weigh in your fish in Alabama Bass Trail bags. We will have the bag line will be easily visible before you get to the tank. So please make sure that you are using Alabama Bass Trail bags when you come to the bump sink. All right, that is all I have. I don't see any questions here. I haven't received any on my phone. We're going to go ahead and conclude tonight's meeting. I will let you know you do want to get to Smith Lake early on Saturday. We will go ahead and blast off as soon as Scott deems it a safe light. We want you to get as much fishing time as possible, but also remember there is another tournament that will be practicing that day. Please be safe. Go by all the posted safety signs. Please make sure you have on your PFD. We will see you early on Saturday morning. Also, just a reminder, there will not be any in-person check-in at Smith Lake, so there will be no reason for you to come to an in-person check-in on Friday night. We will not have any more in-person check-ins until the championship later on in October. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. If you've got a friend of yours who maybe didn't get to see this tonight, you might want to share the YouTube link with them so that they have the information that they need to be successful on Saturday. We look forward to seeing you. Thank you so much, and we'll see you on Saturday.